So we're trying to identify a 60 tick run, and if a 60 tick run is identified, that's basically saying that the market is overextended and we don't want to take any further trades in that direction here. So I have a 60 tick measuring stick here, and so we can see that once price gets beyond this bar here, we want to prevent any further long trades, as that's just too much of an overextended run there. All right, so let's get BloodHound open, and let's put in today's workshop file name. All right, so we have the file name set in there. So now we'll switch over to the logic tab here and start working. All right, so I'm going to start a new logic template here. And all right, so we want to basically block the signals when there's an extended 60 tick extended run here. And let's see, so we'll need something to create some signals. So I'll just use a inflection solver. So just simply taking an inflection solver and setting the input to price, as we can see here, creates a lot of signals here. So it just creates a lot of reversal signals here that I can use for my test, right? All right. Okay, so here's my little test signals to work with. All right, so now we're going to use a comparison solver. And as mentioned earlier, what we're comparing, and also the comparison solver has difference settings in here, has some different settings in here that we can use for measurement. So what we're doing is on each bar, we're measuring the high of the bar down to the indicator, the swing indicator here. And we're looking for this 60 tick difference. Right? So, first thing I'll do is I'll just put in our measurement that we're looking for here, the 60 tick difference. So, and input A, well, that's going to be the bar prices, and then input B is going to be our indicator here. That's tracking the the anchor points here. So, all right, so input A, let's set that to price. And let's see here. So we'll set long. We'll generate a long output. Now, this comparison solver is going to be generating the opposite output that we actually want for blocking. So remember, solvers are set up to create signals, not block signals. But so we'll set up this comparison solver to generate a signal and then invert it, which inverting it would then make it useful for blocking signals. So we'll create a long signal. We're going to be using the high of the bar, right? Because again, if we're measuring a long move or an up move, we're going to be measuring the top of the bar or the high price down to the swing indicator. And then the short, well, that's almost typically that's going to be the opposite price. So we'll set this to the low. Okay, so now input B, that'll be our swing indicator here that we're using. And let me just get the settings that we're using again. So we're using 2 and 6 as our indicator settings. All right, so let's go, and use the swing size lows. There. So 2 and 6. And for the long signal, we're going to be using the widest bottom plot. Right? So the red one, the dashed red one is the widest bottom, and the dashed gray one is the widest tops plot, and we'll use that for a short. All right. Oh, and I should have had this connected up here. And yeah, there we go. So let's see. Yeah, so on this bar, we got to, yeah, this bar actually gets to 60 ticks, right? But anything below this, anything below this is less than 60 ticks. So, if you actually want, if you actually want it to equal 60 ticks, then what we can do is make this 59.9, just a little bit less, just a tad less, right? And so the reason why we're going a little bit tad less is if you read the description of these outputs here. So for this long output, right, we're using A is greater than B. So there's no equal. It's not A greater than or equal to B. It's A greater than B. And we don't want to use this equal down here. This equal actually kind of creates a range. So we don't want to use that. So if you want to identify something that is equal to the distance, then just subtract 1/10 of a tick from your measurement or your difference. All right. So now, so basically where there's no output, right, that's where signals would be allowed. But once we get to the 60 tick move or beyond, that's when we want to block. So these signals need to be opposite, right? So we actually need an output when signals are allowed and no output, the absence of an output when signals are not allowed, right? Because that is how AND nodes work. So the way AND nodes work is that when all the signals line up, you get a signal. But if any solver going into an AND node is missing an output, then you're never going to get a signal out of an output. So we want this comparison solver to have no output when signals are not allowed. And and so that's what would be blocking the signals here. Yeah, so remember, so this is our test signals. So let's see here. Let me finish putting a name in here. All right, so we're measuring either the high or the low of the bar, and we're looking for 60 tick difference from the swing high-low indicator. All right, so as mentioned earlier, we just need to invert. We don't need a solver. Let's just use this. We'll just turn the invert output on, and let me just move my little measuring stick over. All right. So when signals are allowed, right? So any move that's less than this 60 ticks here, right? Which signals are allowed. We can see that BloodHound, or not BloodHound, but the solver, right? We're getting a long output here when this move is less than 60 ticks. And as soon as we get right to a move that's more than 60 ticks, then that long signal disappears. And so therefore signals will not get through. Right? So let's take a look. All right, so we can see, so this is our, you know, our test signals here. So we can see, right, we have a bunch of signals here on this overextended run here. And so now if we connect our solver in, our comparison solver in, and let's see here. Actually, well, yeah, so long signals are blocked. Yeah, the long signals are blocked, but the short signals can still get through. Yeah, and let's take a look over here. So on this down run, this down move, right, short signals can get through here. So some shorts can get through because they're within this 60 tick move. And then as soon as we get down here, yeah, so this short is blocked. So normally there would be a short signal there, but it was blocked. And let's disconnect this here. There. Yeah, so that short signal was blocked there. All right, so Neil, I think this is what you're looking for. So yeah, we were able to do this with just one solver. Yeah.
So if we wanted that to eliminate signals for, say, the next X number of bars, like, would you just put an extender on that to block it for?
Yeah, for the
I guess the question is, how long would that inverted output block?
That's right. Okay, no, if we wanted to, so yeah, if we wanted to extend it, the problem is you can't extend a no signal. The signals can be extended, but the absence of a signal cannot be extended. So what we'll have to do, let's disconnect this. So we'll have to take the invert off, turn that back off. So this, yeah, so this is the period here, which the move is further than 60 ticks away. So what we can do is take a signal extender, connect that in there, actually. There, let's take a look. So let me just mark this here. There, so there's our block, our area that's being blocked, and if you want to extend that a little further into time, take the signal extender. There we go. So if you want to extend it another 5 bars, there we go. And then we would take the signal extender and need to invert that. Like so. There. So here's the normal range of bars, right? Where the move is more than 60 ticks. And then we took that and extended it another 5 bars. So therefore no more short signals would show up for an extra 5 bars. There. So is that what you're looking for?
That seems to be it. I'll have to test it out and see what it, look at some charts and see what it does. But that's, at least in the ballpark of it, that's useful. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if you're just, so there's kind of two ways to look at this. If you're wanting to extend from the first bar, that reached your 60 tick overextended run. So if you're wanting just to extend from that first bar on forward, then we need to change this solver here, right? We need to just output. We need an output on just that one bar, and then you can take that single bar and extend it forward however many bars, right? But right now, this solver is identifying all the bars that are more than 60 ticks away from our anchor point. So we're actually extending from the last bar. So, what I have built right now is actually, right, taking all these bars that are outside of our 60 tick difference, and we're taking this last bar and extending it 5 bars. So not the first bar, but we're taking the last bar and extending it 5 bars.
And I think that's more accurate. I'm looking for the maximum extension, not just at 60 ticks and then extend. So maximum extension plus some additional.
Okay.
That seems correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So, and zoom out a little bit here. So move this back. And let's see what we have here. Yeah, let me elaborate on this logic a little bit here. Yeah, now thing is, we can't, unless I go through and mark every single, test signal, we can't tell which ones are really, it's not all that obvious which ones are being blocked here. So, but I can use BloodHound's fuzzy logic to help me visualize which signals are actually being blocked here. So the way I can do that is I'm going to take an OR node and then an additional OR node, one extra one. And this OR node here, I'm going to reduce its output like so. So if I look at these signals, right, these are only half signals here, right? If I shrink this, right, we get a half signal here from this OR node here. So I could do there, click that in. And so now I can kind of see these little half signals here, and that tells me. So if I see a half signal like that, those are the signals that are getting blocked. So I can kind of see both, right? I can see the signals that get through, because I have a racing stripe, and then I can see the signals that were blocked because I get just a little bit of an output that I can see. So actually, that's probably. Reduce that down a little bit more. There. Yeah, let's take a look at this up move here. So now I can see all the long signals that were blocked here. There. All right, so basically what I did is I used this OR node. So I took the signals right into this OR node, and then I used this OR node to reduce the signal strength. So I've reduced it basically down to 0.25, or if I want to be precise, there, it was 2.23, sorry, so I can make it 2.5, and I can basically take a signal and reduce it down to a quarter signal, and then feed it into an OR node, and that allows me to kind of see. It allows me to see all the signals as 1/4, and that way I can tell, which signals have been blocked. So, and the full signal gets through. All right. So there we go. I think that does it for Neil. So cool.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right. So, all right, Ronald's got a two-parter here. All right, so I guess, Ronald, you'd like to see some examples of detecting when price gets close to the Bollinger Band, close to the upper Bollinger Band or lower Bollinger Band. And then, you have a comment about Chameleon. All right, so Ron still uses Chameleon to access price points. Although, really, that's not necessary anymore, Ron. And I'll show you. I'll show you why Chameleon is not really necessary anymore. When I build your comparison solver here. All right, so give me a moment here to kind of set my chart up. All right, let me switch over to like a 1-minute chart for the Bollinger. And let's get some data on this chart. And let's also get the Bollinger indicator on here. All right, so it sounds like you want to kind of detect, let's see, when bars are getting close to one of the bands here. So something like that, for example, or that, for example. And let's see here. All right, Ron, so if Mike I told you to still use Chameleon, then it's probably for a reason that you haven't fully explained to me yet. So, Chameleon does still have some uses in it. It does have a couple of features that are only found in Chameleon, but for the most part, it's pretty rare that anybody uses those features there, Chameleon. All right. Let's see here. So let's make a new logic template here. All right. Let's grab a comparison solver right there. Let's connect it up. All right. So input A, that'll be our price. And so this is the reason really why Chameleon isn't that useful anymore. So because all the prices are now built into BloodHound here. So if we take a look, so, if you have the type set to price, all the various prices are available here. For example, open, high, low. You even have the median, right? The median, the typical, the weighted, they're, all the price points that NinjaTrader has available, they're all available in here. So, all right. So let's see. I'll whip something together here real quick. So when price is close to the upper band, I'll generate a long signal, and if price is close to the lower band, I'll generate a short signal here. And so let's say, let's say we're looking to see if price is within, 3 ticks of the band here. There. yeah, just thinking how I want to set this up. So, yeah, depending on exactly what you want to do there, Ronald, this might take a couple of solvers to do this. But yeah, let me finish. Yeah, let me finish setting my inputs up. So input B, that'll be the Bollinger Band. And like I said, I'll use, when price gets close to the upper band, I'll generate a long. And if price gets close to the lower band, I'll generate a short signal. Like so. Now, the one thing that we need is we need to use the A equals B, within X number of ticks. So actually, yeah, hold on. Before I use this output here, if we take a look at what we have right now, right, basically when price is 3 ticks above the upper band, right, we're getting a long output. But if you wanted to detect, if price is still inside the bands, but within 3 ticks, only 3 ticks away from the band, then we need to use the A equals B. So let me turn those both on here. Set those to 1. There. Yeah, so now we can see if price is close enough, is within 3 ticks of that upper band, we'll now get a long output here. And let's see if I can find a good example. Well, yeah, I guess those 2 bars there. We're just going to expand this chart out here so we can really see it. So there we go. So the high of the bar is pretty close to the band. Yeah, there's another example. The high of the bar is not quite touching the band, right? So, but we're getting a long output, identifying that the high of the bar is pretty, is within 3 ticks of that band. So, right, and then, the way these outputs are set up, right, it says A greater than B, right? So again, A is price. So if price is greater than the Bollinger, then we're also going to get an output. So for example, yeah, like these bars here, right? The high of the bar is outside the upper band, and so we're always going to get a long output. So essentially what a single comparison solver has created is we'll get an output if price is 3 ticks or closer when it's inside the band, right? So if the high of the bar is inside the band and it's within 3 ticks, you'll get an output. And if the high of the bar is anywhere outside the band, you'll always get an output. So now if you're trying to identify tighter parameters of where the price of the bar is in relationship to the bands, then we'd need another comparison solver to do that. So, all right. So with that, let me take a look here. It looks like Ronald has written some other information for me. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see why Ronald is using Chameleon now. Okay. Yeah, so, all right. So here, now that I have more information, here's exactly what Ronald is doing. Let's see here. Let me recreate this on my chart. So let's take the Bollinger. So we've got two Bollingers here. Let's see. So yeah, so one of the Bollingers. Let's see, where is it? There we go. Input series. Yeah, so one of the Bollingers has the high price fed into it, like so. And then we have another Bollinger. Let's take another one here. And we're going to feed the low price into that one. And I'll turn off the I'll turn off the other outputs here. Turn off the plots, I mean. All right. So Ron, I take it something like this is what you're doing? Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, so this is basically what Ron's doing. Feeding, using the high of the bars for the upper band and using the low prices of the bars, fed into another Bollinger indicator for the lower band. All right, yeah, so if we were going to do that in BloodHound, let's switch over here. Yeah, so, all right, so let's go into input B here. And let's set up this Bollinger correctly. All right, so there's our Bollinger. And so, yeah, so in order to feed, various price points into your indicator, various, price data, that is, one of the rare cases where Chameleon still comes in handy. So let's go find Chameleon here. So under Tools, there's Chameleon. Yep, so we can nest Chameleon into the Bollinger. And so with Chameleon, we can feed the high price into Chameleon for, when we're looking for a long logic. And then we could take the low price and feed that into Chameleon when we're evaluating short signals. Right? So we're using the high price being fed into the Bollinger when we're evaluating long signals. And the low price is being fed into the Bollinger for evaluating short signals there. Okay, so there we go. And that does it. All right. Okay, so anyways, let's, so just getting back to, we got off track a little bit here. So let's see, let's get back to Ronald's original question here. So I think the core of what Ronald's question was about using the large amount versus the small amount within the comparison solver here. So these two settings right here. The small amount and the large amount, that is there for those who want to take advantage of BloodHound's fuzzy logic, right? So for the most part, people want to use BloodHound in a non-fuzzy logic manner. In other words, they want to use BloodHound just to get very clear, red or green, on or off type of signals, So therefore, so typically most people will set the small amount and the large amount both the same. And that eliminates BloodHound's fuzzy logic. And that's how most people want to use it. So if you're not really using BloodHound's fuzzy logic, then just set the small amount and large amount to both the same here. All right. But what it really applies to is, let's see, if I set the small amount to 0, leave the large amount on 3, then if we look at these outputs here, right? So the inner output, A equals B within 0 ticks. 0 ticks. right? So these inside outputs use the small amount. And then the outer output, you can see it says A greater than B by 3 ticks or more. By 3 ticks or more, right? So these two outer output options here are using 3 ticks. And that's because it's using the large amount, right? So basically, large amount and small amount gives you the flexibility needed if you're using fuzzy logic here. Yeah, actually, in this case, since we're using the A equals B, since we need this, and you're still looking for three, you know, say if you're looking for a three tick difference, you know, if the bar price gets within 3 ticks of the band, yeah, then we need to keep the large amount and the small amount the same there. Well, let's see. Let's take a look. Yeah, 3 ticks on the Russell is not very much. As I look at this, even this bar here didn't get marked. Yeah, let me increase that. Let's go 5 ticks. There. And there we go. There. All right, so yeah, Ronald, is that what you're looking for? You know, I think the issue that you probably were having, or the one setting that you're missing, is using the A equals B, you know, within. So, all right. Also, just a little tip here, right? If the number of ticks doesn't update in the description here, which on some computers it updates instantly, other computers it doesn't. It's kind of weird. You know, some of my VMwares, this text will update instantly, and on some of them, like this one that I use for the workshops, it doesn't update. So all you gotta do is just click off and click back on the solver, and then the text gets updated there. There. So now you can see it says A equals B within 5 ticks instead of the 0 ticks. Okay. Great. Looks like that takes care of it. Yeah. You know, and also, Ron, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but there is, you know, a very detailed video on each of the solvers, right? So there's one for the comparison solver. So if you want to find that, we can go to, let's see here. Yeah, let's go to you can go to either documentation or the video tutorials, but if I go to the documentation, and if I scroll down, right, there's the confidence solvers, which is, yeah, that's the full name, confidence solvers. You know, but we could just call them solvers for short. So under the confidence solvers, we can scroll down. There's the indicator comparison. So I can click on that and scroll down, and there's the video that covers all the settings, you know, for the comparison solver. All right, guys. Well, if I don't see you in tomorrow's Blackbird workshop, then have a good weekend. Yeah, enjoy yourself. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.